The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open Friday, brought to you from BronxNet Studios, mi gente. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we speak to Asian Mental Health Project founder Carrie Zhang to discuss de-stigmatizing mental health within the Asian community. Then we'll be joined by two-time Grammy Award-winning recording artist Eddie Montalvo, along with Casita Maria's Deputy Director, Creative Arts and Communications Gail Heidel, to discuss the 11th annual South Bronx Culture Festival. After that, we'll speak to Pregones PRTT's artistic director, Rosalba Rolón, as she discusses the long-awaited return of the original musical production, Torched. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on Navatman Dance Company with a performance at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Hey everyone, welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, coming to you from the newly upgraded BronxNet Studios, inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So as we continue celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And our first guest is the founder of the Asian Mental Health Project. And this project uses social media, multimedia content creation, and community events to destigmatize topics of mental health and critical social issues while providing tangible resources. And joining us to share more is Asian Mental Health Project founder Carrie Zhang. Hello and welcome, Carrie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. Wow, what an intro. That was so cool.
Well, it's wonderful to see where your focus is in, and by the same token, we are honoring Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So thank you for being here with us. But I really, really appreciate, on a personal note, that you've chosen to take on this task of just engaging in this conversation in whatever form it is that your platform is doing, which I would love for us to share with our viewers, because I think it starts with just opening up and feeling safe in having that conversation and not feeling ostracized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's sort of the crux of our project, is to be the start of the conversation in a way that's super digestible and accessible. Our main platform is, in the main media platform we use is Instagram, because that has several users, and it is a great way to synthesize and share information about mental health. So that's something that we definitely prioritize. And yeah, I really appreciate this platform. I think I was thinking back, like a couple of years ago, we wouldn't have even had these conversations now, but because there is a wave of new media, there is the pandemic happens, people were looking inwards towards mental health. So we've personally seen a lot of growth, because I think more people are realizing that this is a crisis. Mental health is, there's a lot of mental health issues right now, I think more than ever, I would say. And so we're here to be sort of on the forefront and help out people who particularly identify with the Asian space.
So just share with me exactly when this platform was founded, and what inspired you personally. Is it something that you were going through and you wanted to expand outward?
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially exactly that. I started it in 2019. It was, I think, little bit a year after I graduated college. I had realized that I had gone through a series of like traumatic events in college that led me to, essentially be forced into mental health care. I didn't want to seek therapy. I didn't want to do medication. I didn't want to do all these things. But because I sort of made a joke to my doctor about, things that had happened to me, they immediately like sent me to the Relationship and Sexual Violence Prevention Center, where I received like pretty very consistent, like very frequent mental health care that I just like wasn't prepared for. So after I'd gone through that cycle, graduated college, I was reflecting. I was like, oh my God, whoa, like I feel like a lot of the things I had gone through could have been better mitigated or managed or identified at a younger age had I had the vocabulary and ability and felt comfortable talking about it within my own family, within my own spaces, just because, as I'm sure many folks are aware, mental health is very taboo in Asian cultures. One, because of cultural stigma, but also because of language barrier. It's extremely hard for me. My parents, they speak Mandarin and a little bit of Taiwanese, and I couldn't express how I felt in those languages because I just wasn't well versed enough in those areas. So after that, yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
No. Keep going. No, because when you mentioned how the stigma within your culture, and I just wonder, like, to what extent, aside from the language barriers that you just referenced, is it something that's a taboo?
Yeah, it is definitely taboo. I think, especially for people, we have a like very like immigrant, like gotta work hard, keep your head down, don't question anything. You should be very grateful to be here. Therefore, you need to perform really well in this country. That kind of mentality, and any like deviation from that, that linear path is wrong. So like for example, if I was growing up and I was doing, let's just say, homework, right? If I was feeling really stressed and wanted to cry, but it was taking away from me doing this productive thing, that would be, sort of frowned upon. There's a concept in Chinese, it's called saving face. And that's like, when you save your face, it means you have to always like keep up a smiling image. You gotta
Well,
keep
how do you
moving
say it in
forward.
Mandarin? How do you? And I know what you mean. It's a disciplinary act. So how do you say it in Mandarin?
It's just 面子. It's like that means your face. And
Means?
what?
How do you say it?
面子.
Mienzi.
Yeah, 面子.
Yeah. No, I wanted to learn because, again, these are cultural practices that I think we should share with the world because we all have certain things. And of course, the language. I mean, that's the beauty of being in New York is that we all get to exchange that difference and find our similarities. And so I also wanted to ask, like, what kind of success have you experienced and witnessed in providing this platform? Like, how many people are part of it, and what kind of I guess agendas you put together, and how are the resources, how do the resources become accessible to anybody who partakes?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, one, in terms of like measuring success, it was a little bit hard because it's like how do you measure whether or not
Well,
something is
I
helpful?
don't mean success.
Yeah.
I mean in the sense of like the impact that it's having. You know what I mean? Because we're in it. We're in it. We're all in this together, and we're all going through it. So forgive me for the interruption, but I probably shouldn't have used the word success because this is an
No, no,
this is an ongoing process.
no, I feel like it makes so much sense. I think patterns that I noticed that indicated that this is like a really necessary space is every time something tragic happened in the world, pandemic, anti-Asian hate crimes, racism, like in other communities as well, we would get an influx of followers, which was like a weird phenomenon to me because I was like, why? Why are we getting, like, I felt so bad because like it felt like we were gaining traction as horrible things are happening in the world. But then I sort of realized, oh, it's because people need spaces to process these terrible things with people that relate to them and have like an innate understanding there. And so one of the consistent services that we provide is called Stay and Check-in. It is a weekly wellness check-in that happens every Wednesday, and we've been doing it for the last 2 years. It started, with COVID because we needed a place to literally stay in and check in.
Is
And
it
right now,
bilingual?
no, it's just in English. We would love to expand, but right now it's just in English right now. And people can come in. The first half of the session is like an open share. So like you can come in, like you could talk whatever you want. If you're feeling some sort of way, you can unpack it. It's a space, it's peer led. And then the second half of the space, we try to bring in a mental health professional or some kind of wellness practitioner to talk about a topic of their choice. Like it provides an educational opportunity, just because like when else do you get to talk to someone who is, who unpacks intergenerational trauma for a living, but for free. So we offer these services for free. And recently we expanded to having an Asian men's wellness group, just because, the culture with masculinity is that you don't really
It,
your feelings.
oh, well, thanks for bringing that up too. That's a whole nother topic for a whole
Well,
nother
that's
day.
so many things. Oh my God.
No. I know, but it's just that we're running out of time. But I love the fact that you've just taken on this role to just hold the space for additional individuals to also find their mental wellness. And my last thing, because they're wrapping me up, is do you have to be Asian to be a part of this membership?
No, not at all. I mean, we generally, a lot of our topics are Asian focused
Right.
topics, so that's a caveat,
Got
but
it.
we can listen in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, just out of curiosity, because again, going back to culture and understanding like similarities in the upbringing and destigmatizing certain language and aside from the language barriers, just the language in which could stop us from moving forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's important to continue to build language and build accessible ways to talk about these sort of things. Yeah.
Wonderful. And thank you for bringing it here to us and sharing it with our viewers. Everyone, that is Carrie Zhang of Asian Mental Health. She is the founder. If you're interested in participating, visit asianmentalhealthproject.com. And you can also visit them on Instagram at Asian Mental Health Project. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about Casita Maria's 11th annual South Bronx Culture Festival. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. So, Casita Maria Center for Arts and Education's South Bronx Culture Festival is in its 11th year. And, bueno, this year's theme is Yo soy la salsa, which translates to I am the sauce. But it's also understood to mean I am the root, the rhythm, the beat, the spice, and the music. And here to share more details about this year's festival is Casita Maria's Deputy Director, Creative Arts and Communications, Gail Heidel, along with the festival's headliner, or one of the festival's headliners, is two-time Grammy Award-winning recording artist, Eddie Montalvo. Hello, welcome. Woo!
Thanks for having me on today, Rhina. As you mentioned, we are in our 11th year of the South Bronx Culture Festival, and each year we focus on a different theme. In the past, we've focused specifically on one genre, like hip hop or jazz. But this year, with Yo Soy La Salsa, we really want to celebrate and uplift the cultures of the South Bronx. So it's, Bronx culture, it's Latino culture, it's Caribbean culture, African culture, and so much more. So we have 3 days of music from June 3rd through 5th, as well as dance performances. And we're going to be in front of St. Athanasius Church at 878 Tiffany Street for all 3 days. In the past, we've, bounced around to different locations all around the South Bronx. But this year, we're going to have a home. We're going to have a 30-foot stage. We're going to have our amazing MCs, which include you and Javier Gomez, also from BronxNet, because BronxNet's our media sponsor. So we're going to give lots of love. And then Eddie Montalvo is going to be our headliner on Friday night. We have Brenda K. Starr, our headliner, on Saturday. And on Sunday, we have Casita Maria's Bronx Banda featuring Arturo O'Farrell. And then I can keep going on, but, about all the other acts, but I'll pass it back to you, Rhina.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and we can revisit it throughout the segment. However, we do want to have conversations with the El Gran Eddie Montalvo, who, you've traveled the world. Thank you for being here with us. I love your background.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you, Gail, Casita Maria, for this beautiful interview, which was unexpected after 2020 that COVID came in.
I know. And this is the reason I'm even opened up with you traveling the world and now coming back and performing in the Bronx and also, with your orchestra. Just out of curiosity, like, when was the last time you performed with your entire orchestra?
To be honest with you, it was the 2020, right before COVID hit. And wow, what a tragic, because at the same time, Rhina, I had just finished recording my album and COVID came in, so everything went on standby.
Right, everything went on standby, including the homage. Right, you were supposed to be part of the tribute to Benny Bonilla.
Yes, that is correct. Thanks to Gail, who she notified me and she said, "Hey Eddie, it would be a big surprise for Benny to see you, so it was going to be a big surprise." But I got the big surprise when what happened. Everyone in the world suffered with the COVID.
Oh, right. No, right. Well, I wasn't applauding that. I was applauding the fact that now you're going to be you're going to be in person on stage on the amazing stage that they have set up for everyone. And bueno, you're going to also be accompanied by I believe the Cache Studio dancers. So it's going to be a really vibrant presentation.
Yes, I'm looking forward. I'm really looking forward. Once again, I keep saying to Gail, thank you that she didn't forget about me, because I figured after this, everything came to a standstill. But I'm looking forward. The whole group is looking forward to perform on the 3rd, and Cache dancers will be performing as well. And I'm really, really happy to be there.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to be in your presence when that date gets there. So trust me, we're just as excited.
You need to dance.
Oh, I'm going to dance. Absolutely. I'm going to honor you, Senor Montalvo. So Gail, let's talk about the fact that now you've partnered up with like Bronx Nights Market, and the FDNY is also going to be there. I know the FDNY is usually there, and I know it's an important factor that needs to be addressed constantly here in the Bronx based on our current circumstances with a lot of the fires and people being educated. But the Bronx Night Market is a big deal because you've never had the food vendors before.
Right. It's always been a bit of a challenge, to try to figure out on our own how to bring food vendors. So this year we partnered with Bronx Night Market. They're going to have 12 food vendors, all, vendors from the Bronx. So hopefully that'll keep people there all day and keep them energized so they can hit the dance floor. Partnership is so important for Casita Maria, and I think it's just, something in life that we all need to do. It makes us stronger, and it provides, a much richer event. And obviously education is really important to us as a Center for Arts and Education. So that's why we're inviting FDNY there. They'll be there all 3 days. Each day will have, a different topic. You can learn CPR. They'll have their smokehouse there where you can learn about fire safety. We also have the New York Public Library there just on Saturday. So Bronx Night Market and the fire department, they'll be there Friday through Sunday. And then the public library bookmobile will be there on Saturday. So if you've been thinking about getting a library card, but you've been holding off, you can get a library card. You can check out books right there on site. So yeah, a lot to offer.
I know. I'm so looking forward to this, you guys. Eddie, before we run out of time, I want you to share in your words what people should expect from your mini concert after not being with your orchestra for so long.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Well, I'm short of words, but I have to say this, Rhina. It's going to be an amazing night. I have a 14-piece orchestra, and salsa will never die.
That is for sure. Now, but I also need to ask about those congas behind you, because I understand that you have a brand that is like named after you, right? With the LP.
Yes, I do.
Are those them?
Okay, no, they're not here. To be honest with you, these drums that you see behind me are custom drums from guys that used to make congas that are no longer with us. So it's a dream having this. These are for collectors.
So you collect the congas as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so awesome. You live and breathe it, right?
Yeah, well, I started at the age of 17 playing professionally, and I'm still here.
I know, it's beautiful. No, it's so beautiful. I always love, just paying homage and really acknowledging all these Grammy nominees, Grammy winners, such as yourself, for making yourselves accessible to the community and always bringing it back home.
I've been a Bronx young man. Well, I'm older now.
It's a matter of opinion. Matter of opinion.
I'm still in the Bronx. I'll put it to you this way, Rhina, 69 years in the Bronx.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm so looking forward to dancing to the sounds of your group. And we're running out of time. Gail, do you have any last words before I wrap up this segment?
Yeah, I just want to, say a special thank you to our funders, because without their support, we wouldn't be able to, present this annual event. So a special shout out to Councilmember Rafael Salamanca Jr., Con Ed Alfresco. That's their arts program. I want to thank them, as well as the Howard Gilman Foundation. And of course, all of our partners, such as, the Bronx Arts Ensemble, Hunts Point Alliance for Children, and Urban Health Plan, in addition to the other partners that I mentioned earlier. Right. Thank you, Rhina.
Yeah, and you guys, I wish I could go through the entire agenda for the weekend, but you're going to have to go to their website. Of course, as we mentioned, I will be co-hosting that alongside Javier Gomez of BronxNet, and we do want to thank Gail, and I am still getting adjusted to controlling the teleprompter. So I want to thank Gail Heidel once again, Casita Maria's Deputy Director, Creative Arts and Communication, and two-time Grammy Award winner and multiple Grammy nominee, Eddie Montalvo, for joining us. And don't forget, he's going to be out there on Friday night. Yes. And the South Bronx Culture Festival is taking place June 3rd through the 5th, Friday from 3:30 to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday beginning at 1 till 7 p.m. That's happening at Father Gigante Plaza, located at 878 Tiffany Street in the Bronx. And once again, for all the information, you can go to casitamaria.org. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about Pregones PRTT, long-awaited return of their musical production, Torched. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. So Pregones, Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, announces the much-awaited full run of its original musical production, Torched. Torched, alternates from the 1970s New York, when news of Bronx fires filled the headlines, to the present day, featuring personal accounts of survival, pulsing to the beat of salsa, funk disco, and hip hop. Bueno, Torch, it brings forward true stories of those who lived through the devastating fires caused by arson for profit business. And here now to tell us more is creator and director of Torch and Pregones PRTT's artistic director, Rosalba Rolón. Hello, Rosalba. Welcome.
Hola, Rhina. Thank you so much for your invitation. Always a pleasure to see you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I mean, I applaud everything that you have all been able to basically recreate to just keep the theater business alive. I know Torched was originally going to go back in person. I can't remember exactly when, but I know I was supposed to go see it, and then it got shut down again. When was that?
That was back in November. In November, we were all set up. We had a beautiful opening night. And then the next day, boom, because we were testing every day. And so we had to close, and it was devastating, really, for everyone. And then we reopened 2 weeks after isolation. And then we had to close again. So we said, okay, this time around, we're just going to wait it out and stay in touch with our immediate community, creative community, and we're all coming back together. And that's what has happened.
I know. I believe that was when the Omicron surge was in place, right? Or was it Delta? Because, in Delta, Omicron. And now they don't even have a name for this new variant. Pero moving on, I do want to know, from a creative standpoint, what has that been like for you all to have to keep recreating to mount again from scratch?
Well, in a way, like with all creative works, we build, you build a production. We use usually a whole period of testings of the material throughout. In our case, through our stage garden room, but the summer prior to opening, we were testing the material with the audience, with the communities everywhere in the various gardens around the Bronx, in conversation with people and neighbors. And that got us ready to that first phase. So our intention is always, once we open officially, to treat it as a test of sorts. We're gonna do it. We're gonna run it. Then we're gonna get together again, see what worked, what didn't, how can we improve it. So we just decided to use the opportunity of that pause to continue working on the material and looking at things that I already knew that I wanted to spend some more time in. And then it's been, in that sense, a blessing, because I think that we're very close to where we really want to be.
Right. I mean, this has been 5+ years in the making on your part. And so obviously this is a very important story to you, and the way you're telling it is kind of visiting back then and bringing it to now. So just share with us why this story has taken you so long to really put together in this format, and why you chose that format too.
Yes, well, it's one of those things that when you begin to think about it, is because you've been thinking about it without knowing it for 10 years before that.
Right.
It's like one day you say, oh yeah. As you know, Rhina, Pregones is a touring. We initiate our lives 40 years ago as a touring company. And before we had our own first space, we had been traveling for 7 years, like at least 200 days of the year. And then we continue to travel until today. And just to give you an idea, it's more than 500 cities, 37 states, 18 countries with our work. And to find ourselves in every single corner of the world, from the mountain of Kentucky to South Africa to a mountain in Slovakia, where people are reacting to the fact that we're from the Bronx, that we are a theater in the Bronx. And I'm thinking, where did they hear about it? And there were some beautiful people, and it was on the border with Poland, who was saying, and are you safe? And can you walk safely in the Bronx? And I'm thinking, and this is a rural area in Eastern Europe, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what has happened here? And what has happened is that the not the BronxNets of the world, but the big, powerful, entertaining industry of the world, the Hollywoods of the world, and really decided to launch a story that was mostly varnished, and it ruined the reputation of our entire community for the past 50 years in ways that has been really difficult to recover from. And I'm really, I want to make clear that in my heart, to me, I don't need the validation from everyone in the world, but reputation is important. We work our lives to that to gain respect and to make sure that people look at what we have. And I want to thank, I have to say gracias, thank you to all of the artists over the past 50 years who have been working on this, the poets, the playwrights, the novelists, the photographers, the visual artists, the graffiti artists, and, everything that came out of the 70s. And because of this, we are just adding to those voices. But in my head and heart, I wanted to push a little for to clarify, to unveil in some instances, and to just weigh in on the arson for profit business, on who were the perpetrators, who were the people behind the fires, because without a doubt, there was always the community's fault, right? It was the neighbors. Was it probably in some cases that was the case? Yes, but there was a whole industry behind it.
Right.
And that is what we do in this musical, in this play. And always the challenge is how do you do it and do it entertainment, and, but that's what art is,
Right.
you make it, do it in a way that people relax and have fun and look at it and like, damn, that is right. After you see the landlord and the insurance broker dancing rock, as they're planning their next building to be burned.
But that's the magic of the theater, though. The magic of the theater is that you can educate individuals, right? And you can educate them in a way that they are actually re-experiencing it from this other place of what if versus, even though I know it's factual, but just in the way you're telling the story, it allows you to kind of really sit with it truthfully, as opposed to just watching it and walking away from it.
Yes, last night a young woman, it was so great. A young woman said to me, I learned a lot and I had fun. I said, well, that's the best of both worlds. You have fun while you learn, But to me, the reason why I settled in 1977, of course, the era of the 70s, and then 2022 through a narrator that keeps thinking of her ghosts and the things that she's heard over the past 40 years because she wasn't born yet. And so, in a way, I came to New York when I was already a young woman, right in the 70s. So the whole thing about the fires was very new to me. So it was, in a way, that reflection, but then I lived in the Bronx for 30 years, and it's a reflection of all those life experiences. And these are fictional characters based on people and interviews and things that I conducted over a long period of time. So I always say they're fictional characters. Any coincidence is purely intentional.
Right. No, but I know you did extensive research, and before we go, I do want to share with our audience what they can expect, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's multimedia as well, and the fact that you have all these music. Different genres of music incorporated, it's going to be an experience of like a time capsule.
Mm-hmm. It is, and we have a beautiful band, a live band, led by the composer of the piece, Desmar Guevara, and beautiful images, collected by our design crew, by Iman, and lighting and set and everything. It's just a collective effort, really, truly, to make sure that we're both hearing about these stories today, but knowing that we're going to be thrown back to the 70s and that for an hour and 15 minutes. We also have, I want to say, a friend of mine recently said, this is an hour and 15 minutes with 5 intermissions, only because we have these 30-second surprises.
Also, there's surprises in there too.
Yeah,
I like
testimony.
it.
testimonials by elders who were there, and they. So anyway, I leave it.
No, I love it. Well, I love that about Pregones always. You know, Pregones PRTT now. You definitely find ways to honor everyone and really bring things to light in with the utmost dignity, right? It's like you can tell the story, but it's the way the story's being told, and that's one of the lovely things that I can walk away with. I know I walk away with experiencing your production. So thank you. Thank you for never letting go, and thank you for never giving up despite, you know, all these tumultuous times we've all had to deal with in, you know, this roller coaster ride. Do you have any last words, Rosalba?
No, just to know that we're there every Thursday through Sundays until June 12th, and I hope to meet you all at the theater.
Wonderful. Woo, everyone. Once again, that was Rosalba Rolón, Pregones PRTT's artistic director and creator and director of Torched. Torch is on playing now. It's happening now through June 12th at Pregones Theater, which is located at 575 Walton Avenue in the Bronx. And for tickets and for more information, you can visit pregonesprtt.org. All right, stay tuned. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Race fans, the month of May is here. This is always my favorite time of the sporting season. And a lot of it has to do with arguably my favorite place outside of Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and that is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You might right now hear the sweet sounds of Indy cars traveling around the most historic racing capital of the world, and that is IMS. That's where I'm at. And you know what? Today I'm dressed pretty sharp because tomorrow I'm going to have to dress down a little bit to get myself inside of an Indy car and race with arguably the greatest racing driver of all time. And that man is Mario Andretti. Might be 82 years old, still going 180 miles plus per hour around IMS. And he's going to give this reporter right here an exclusive look inside an Indy car by taking him around this most historic track. So stay tuned. Coming up next is Bobby C, Mario Andretti, right here at IMS. This is the first day of practice for the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500, later this month, in the month of May. And I just wanted to show a little bit about what this track looks like. It is 2.5 miles. You can see the pagoda behind me right there. It is an absolutely massive structure, 2.5 miles of track. It'll be 500 miles of racing, 200 laps, 33 drivers, and only one winner. That's an insider look at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500 coming up later this month on Memorial Day weekend. So my journey begins to the Speedway here a little after 7 in the morning. And yes, I could not sleep last night, so I'm exhausted. I haven't had coffee yet. And I walk into my fresh ride here this morning, and this, a 2020 Mustang. It's beautiful, 55 years of the ponies when they came out with this one. So I've been trying to gear up for the speed by racing this around Indianapolis. A little more dressed down this morning, and I decided to wear my Formula One Drive to Survive, shout out to them, jacket, because, you know, probably best not to have a suit on underneath my race suit. Yeah, gonna be dressed down a little bit more comfortable here. And I think it is basically the moral of the story as well. Drive to survive. Hopefully everything goes well. Coming around this little roundabout here, and in just a moment on my left, you will see IMS. This is where all the magic happens, the Indy 500, and we'll be entering in through gate number 2. Yes, indeed. We're actually driving under the speedway right now as we enter in. You can see the museum, very, very cool. So big shout out to the IndyCar Experience. You can check it out here. They are the ones that have the fastest seat in sports. You can see that hashtag, the Firestone tires. Really, really excited. Gotta admit, I'm pretty nervous too. Some puddles on the ground at the speedway. It's gotta be dry in order for us to do this experience. So we need the weather to hold up, we need the track to dry, and then we'll have 180 miles per hour here at IMS. It's official. I've signed my life away. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Check out this race suit. Very, very cool. This, of course, protects you when you're in the car in case of anything. We're getting close to game time.
The most unbelievable experience.
Mario, that was the ride of a lifetime for me. When we had you on the show, we talked about one of your first books, What's It Like Out There? Now I have a true sensation, or at least a small sensation, of what it might really feel like. For you, what is it like to continue to do this, and how much fun is it to see the smiles on the faces of race fans after having this two-seater experience?
Well, I always look at win-win situations, and something that I enjoy very much doing. And also, if the passengers come away with a smile, they have a new appreciation for our sport, that's another win. So yeah, I'm just happy to be able to do it, and again, keep doing it.
Everybody here at the track always says just how great an ambassador you are for motorsports, and especially IndyCar. You've talked many times about how IndyCar really is the best series.
Yes.
You know, what is it like maybe to pass along some of that fandom to people? Because I think a lot of people don't still know about it. It's a growing sport, but a lot of people still don't know about how great IndyCar is.
Well, that's the point. I think you need to experience it one way or another, just watch it on TV or whatever, to realize competitive, how actually attractive it is and how it draws in fans, because it's easy to pick up your favorite driver, so to speak. You have a lot of new talent, and I mean really good kids. I mean, they represent the solid future of the series and the sport itself. And yet you have veterans that are still young enough, to really get it done. So again, you got the best of both worlds, and when you have the product, you have the product. I don't think the Indy series has to do anything better than what they're doing, quite honestly, except maybe just do everything possible to expose it. But even this program that we have, the Indy Experience, I think I don't know a better way to showcase the sport, mainly because you will never really experience that. Even if you go to driving school, you'll never go that quick, and so on and so forth. So again, a lot of good stuff here, and just happy to be part of it.
This is just absolutely the most awesome experience I've ever had in my life. What is it like day after day to be able to provide these kind of experiences to race fans?
So what's exciting about what we do is we do it at the highest level. Obviously using Dallara chassis, we use our own Honda and Chevy engines that we've detuned just a little bit, just so that we stay in the 180 mile range. But using the real chassis, the real engines, obviously Firestone tires, to provide something like this, the background behind it is a lot more in depth than people believe. We're just like a real race team. The cars are prepared for safety first and foremost, but prepared just like a race car. Every 2,000 miles we put a new engine in. Obviously, if you were out there watching in the event, there's an issue with the tire, all 4 tires come off, a new set comes on. So to do it at the highest level, at the safest level, and here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you have to do it like this.
That was the most incredible experience a reporter could ever possibly have, especially one that is as big a race fan as me. Shout outs are definitely in order. Got to give a shout out to Angie. Got to give a shout out to Shonda and Scott at the Indy Racing Experience. You guys got to check that out. Definitely have to give some shout outs to Mario Andretti's PR people, Patty and Amy, and of course the legend himself. And then back home, how about some love for my camera guy, my editor, my paisan, my colleague, Chris Busateri, for always making everything look so great. Hopefully you guys love the footage at home, and definitely also want to give a shout out to my big boss, Michael Max Nobby, because BronxNet is the place where dreams are made.
Back to Open. So as we close out Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, our last guest is the co-founder and artistic director of Navatman Dance Company, a performing arts organization that nurtures personal evolution through Indian classical arts. And Navatman is best known for its Manhattan-based and now online classes, critically acclaimed productions, stellar music ensemble, and Drive East, a week-long collaborative festival celebrating their mission. Here now to share more is Navatman Dance Company's co-founder and artistic director, Sahi Sambamurthy. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're excited to learn all about everything that you have chosen to invest into the next generation, because you are an educator and you are passing it forward. And my first question to you is, like, in honoring your Indian culture, right? Is this Indian classical performing arts something that that you were born into, or is it something that you developed with time?
It's something for me I developed with time. My parents were not artistic families necessarily. In India in the past, these art forms have been passed down through generations of families a lot of times. So this was a new endeavor for my family. It was something I think my mom wanted me to pursue because it kept me in touch with my cultural roots, gave me a lot of background on what it was to be Indian. And then it was just something that I personally loved and fell into. And I thought if I could give other people the experience I got growing up, what a thing it could be. So that's where that came from.
And so what is it about it, though, that drove you into the field? And also, I guess, committed you to pursuing it and passing it forward here in New York?
So, growing up, I had the beauty of having a really superb teacher, Ramya Ramnarayan. And actually, so much of the Indian art forms are around this specific thought process or apprenticeship called Guru Shishya Parampara. And I fell in love with this art form, I think, through this apprenticeship methodology. And it brought me so much from um, really understanding how to run a company. Like I learned that through dance.
Interesting. That's interesting. No, you got to elaborate a little further, just a little bit, because that's interesting that through your art development, you learned how to run a company.
Yeah, I think the expectation for Indian dancers and musicians as we do our art form is not just that we do the art form, but we learn everything around it. As I got older, I was tasked with helping my dance teacher, maintain the studio or teach classes or, as I got older, I really wanted to help her write grants and things like that. And so I would watch her run her nonprofit side by side every day, even though I wasn't participating in it really. And just from observing and being part of that world is how I got my first start into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the way I make decisions might be even how I think of, well, what would she do or what would Sridhar, my co-founder, do? All these mentors in my life, how do they help me figure out how to run this company day to day?
So what would you say is the most confusing thing that people have or whatever, what I guess, what is it do you find is most confusing to people when it comes to your culture?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think one of the things that I was just having this conversation with one of our students the other day, and she looks at me and she goes, I don't know. Sometimes it's really hard to understand Indian dance and Indian music. And I looked at her and I was like, don't you love K-pop? And she goes, yeah, I love K-pop. And I was like, do you know the words to K-pop? And she goes, no. So then I was like, what's stopping you from loving Indian arts in the same way? Is it possible that the perception that it's confusing or different is the thing that's holding you back from loving it the same way you love K-pop? And it kind of turned a switch there. And I think that's the best way I think I can answer your question,
yeah, because really what I'm inviting our viewers to engage in is just really understanding that we have a lot more in common than we don't, right? And so before we go, I do want to, I cannot leave you or let you go without having a conversation about Bollywood, because I think that's what people assimilate to Indian culture. And so I just wonder what your thoughts are on that movement.
So Bollywood was really only formulated in the last 50, 70 years. So when I think of Indian culture, to me, I don't think of Bollywood. Bollywood to me is a packaged, really beautiful, really connecting, fun way to think of how Western and Indian cultures can combine. But when you have dances and music from India that has roots that trace back hundreds, thousands, etc. years, that to me is the cultural space that's India. And we were discussing earlier, one of the reasons that I'm not such a fan of Bollywood is because of their portrayal of race, color, women. So I tend to shy away from it a little bit more. But I do understand and respect why people within the Indian diaspora love it. So that's personal opinion.
No, well, I'm curious to know, because you actually come from this place of honoring the folklore, right? And so before we go, please share with us what we are about to experience in your presentation.
Sure. So I have two short clips I gave you. I gave you one of our students who you'll notice they're a little bit younger, but I wanted you to have that experience of seeing how they train and grow. And they're doing a specific art form called Kathak, which is kind of standing and filled with chakkars. But the story that they're telling is about Durga. And Durga is a goddess in the Hindu pantheon, and she is protector of all. And you can see each of her arms that will come from her body showing knowledge on one hand, a mace or a bow and arrow on the other. So protecting with ferocity, but also with love. And the second clip that I sent was of our professional dance company, which is just a Pushpanjali, a greeting to the stage and the audience, showing you how that translates into like proscenium stages we have here in the US now.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so delicious. I cannot wait to experience it. Everyone, Sahi Samba Morti, don't go anywhere. When we return, Navatman Dance Company is going to perform for us after the break. Don't go anywhere.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back. Here now to perform. Let's give it up for Navatman Dance Company.
Ashtabhutan Vim Vigita Vigita Mahishasya Madhinam Vigita Vigita Shashanka Chakram Vigita Vigita Sarasula Dharini Vigita Vigita Taam Vigita 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 Yayo Inta Digita Sahajata Digita Vedha Santa Digitur Gam Sada Sarana Maham Prapad Ye Dur Gam Sada Sarana Maham Prapad Ye Dur Gam Sada Sarana Maham Prapad Yat Namo Namo
Wasn't that beautiful, everyone? Honoring Indian culture. That was Navatman Dance Company. For more information, you can visit them at navatman.org and check them out on Instagram at Navatman. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Happy Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Adios.